Okay, Macy's, the one that the Thanksgiving parade goes in front of in New York City. That Macy's, the same Macy's in New York City that David Wilkerson, that prophetic thing he said, that is the one. He said he saw being looted. Check this out. First, on Twitter, here it is. Cops running into Macy's at Herald Square as it was being looted. Hundreds of looters and rioters here with absolutely no concern about cops being here. And I'm going to play this real quick without any sound. There's the cops going in. You can see Macy's right there. You can see the sign. That was it. Just a few seconds long. So on that note, that's the New York City Macy's. I'm going to go ahead and read you the whole prophecy because it's not that long. David Wilkerson's economic vision. Key points to remember about this vision. From the time the first country goes down, you'll have 2 weeks to get your money out of the bank. America will come through the crisis. There will be a restoration. You got that right under Donald J. Trump. He didn't say that part. There will be a restoration, he said. But the nation will never be like it was before. We're already, hearing talking that between COVID, the layoffs, and now this stuff, the country will never be the same. We're already talking about that. And he's saying that here, of course. God is saying, get our lives straight, get rid of the idols, seek the face of God in holiness. God will be a wall of fire about you, and the glory in the midst of you. It is about to happen very soon, and it wasn't exactly very soon. This is like from the 90s, I think, when he said this. But again, depending on whose time you're looking at. It's about to happen very soon. One nation, and I'm speaking prophetically. If I've ever heard anything from God in my life, I heard it. Very soon, a European or North African or Eastern nation is going to default on its international loan. And when that happens, within 2 weeks, Mexico is going to default. Mexico owes $100 billion, 80% of it to the American banks. And here's what is going to happen. About 2 weeks after the first country goes bankrupt, we're going to survive that because most of that money of the first country is owed to the European banks, German, Swiss, and French banks. But a second country is going to go down, probably Argentina or Brazil. And we'll kind of live that down and say, well, maybe it's not going to hurt. But 2 weeks after the first country goes down, Mexico's going to default on $100 billion. And when the banks open the next day at 9 in the morning, $15 billion an hour is going to be withdrawn from our American banks. They're going to be running our banks. He means bank run. The Arabs, all the Latin American countries, they're going to be running our banks. And before the day is over, the USA is going to have to declare a bank holiday. 6 months of horror. And we're going into 6 months of the worst hell America has ever seen. By the way, do you think it's possible the 6 months has already started, and maybe it started with COVID, or it's about to start now, starting June to the rest of the year, 6 months. 6 months of horror. And we're going into 6 months of the worst hell America has ever seen. There's going to be chaos. Not even the National Guard's going to be able to quiet it down. We're going to have to call out the whole U.S. Army. Did Trump just say he was going to call the military in today? In a tweet and in his speech at the White House? Both? Hey, if you Democratic governors, if you don't step up and bring in a sufficient number of National Guardsmen, I'll send in the military. Trump said today. Okay? Not even the National Guard's going to be able to quiet it down. We're going to have to call out the whole U.S. Army. Now, I've had visions recently, for I've been in New York City, and I was in Macy's in a vision. Which one? New York City. And I saw people walking around stunned because they couldn't get their money out of the bank. Now I'm going to give you a word of advice. This first country goes bankrupt. The first country goes bankrupt. I've documented this, and I've got it sealed in an envelope. And I'm going to call all my friends, and I'm telling you, this is the first time I've said it in a public meeting like this, but the first country that bellies up, you get every dime you have. Church, get your money out of the bank, because there's going to be a bank holiday, and you won't be able to get a dime for 6 months. Now, of course, there's going to be restored, but the nation will never be like it is again. There's going to be fear like we've never known. Judgment at the door. When I was at Macy's department store in a vision, and I watched people walk around stunned. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know what was happening. Then a bunch of people walked into Macy's and suddenly went wild and began to steal. And within an hour, I saw the spirit of everybody in the store. They were robbing and stealing. They raped Macy's and destroyed 5 floors. Macy's was raped and ruined in a period of an hour or 2. That's just the beginning. Folks, it's all in this book, the Bible. We've been warned and warned and warned. You can't tell me God hasn't warned us. You can't tell me God isn't saying something awesome here tonight in this church. We better get our prayer life straightened up, our lives straightened up, get rid of the idols, as Paul writes, and seeking the face of God in holiness, or you're not going to be ready for what's coming. God's warning, get ready and you'll not fear these things that come onto you, and you'll start rejoicing. You'll not be afraid because your hands will be clean. You've been praying and God's building a wall of fire around you to keep you. So, this is very interesting that Macy's of New York City has just been pillaged. And the one in Chicago was pillaged the other day. I did a video on that one. But this is the one right out of his freaking vision. Whoa, bro. Take it easy.